Welcome to the Art and Science of Joy podcast. This podcast is all about inspiring people to live more joyfully. So if you're seeking a bit more joy in your own life or seeking to bring some more joy to the lives of others, then this podcast could well be for you. I'm Andrew Cannon, and I have the honor to be your host. And in this episode, I'm excited to be talking with Nina about nutrition. Nina is a holistic nutritional therapist, fresh yoga teacher, and language translator. Most of all, Nina is a searcher for well-being. Nina helps people find more balance in their lives, nutritional balance, that is, which is directly related to physical and mental well-being. Thankfully, Nina remembers when she found her Finnish roots here in Northern Europe in 2004, when nature, fresh local food, clean air, lots of forest and water are present daily. Here, Nina discovered her own path to healthy living, slowly but steadily. Slowly but steadily is good advice for life, says Nina, in nutrition, lifestyle, and work. Welcome to the show, Nina.
Thank you very much, Andrew, and I'm very happy to be here today. Good morning.
Good morning. Excellent stuff. So let's start off, if you could tell us a bit about your own journey with nutrition.
Yes, okay. So the first, I think it began in my teenage years. At school, we studied nutrition and we studied chemistry and biology. And then I was so interested in the combination of these and what is happening in your body and what is happening when you get certain food and what's happening in your body. So it was very interesting for me then. But then my life and my path went another direction, and then it came back just like 30 years later when I got this interest again, and it was very, strong interest. And then I decided, I would like to study again, and I will study nutrition. And so then in 2016, I started with studying and studied for about 3.5 years. And then, and now I'm here and try to help people and try, of course, help myself, help my family, friends, whoever needs nutritional advice.
Oh, well, that's absolutely amazing. Well, thank you on behalf of everybody, for going back to school and learning some more about this important topic, because it is very important. And, when you read the media, there's so much different stories with maybe some conflicting information about what's good, what's bad, different trends. And so I'm wondering, what's your point of view on what you see as good nutrition and not so good nutrition?
Yeah. So I think, good and bad, but I think maybe the most important is good food would be like natural, the most natural as possible, clean, fresh, local, seasonal. Well, you buy with the season. And not if you buy something from the grocery, you look and, well, of course, vegetables, fruit, they have no ingredients more than their vitamins. But then if you buy some products, look at the ingredients list, and if it should be as short as possible. And so the bad food then is the processed food, which contains a lot of artificials or white sugar sometimes, or the refined salt, refined fats, E-codes, or GMO products, for example. That's bad, because it's not good for our body to put these artificial things. And of course, a lot of refined. It's too much refined everything. It's not anymore. It's without minerals, without vitamins, the processed food. So that's bad.
So is that what the refining does? It removes the nutrition, the goodness, or does it have any other negative effects?
Yeah, of course. For example, if you take the example of the trans fat, which is the partially I can't say it in English, but it's partially made. It's the form is different, and so it can make damage in your body also. If you eat a lot of trans fats, which are like in these half-made, half-made cakes or products, the fat can make damage. It's maybe I can't explain it very deeply, but it's not good for you. Or for example, the refined salt, which is natrium chloride, it's without any other minerals anymore because it's so refined. And the natrium chloride is like it binds the water, so then it's like it can produce like I'm sorry with my language. There's so much Finnish in my brain, so I'm sorry. It produces the turvotus. I'm sorry. I can't.
So it makes you swell.
Swell, yeah. Yeah. Well, it's not good. And then the artificials, of course, and they put so much in it that like colors, artificial colors, and everything. But just it's not like we need in our body. It's not our body can't take them. Yeah, can't use them.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So, and I know there's a lot of trends in food and nutrition at the moment. What do you see as the most important that are happening?
Let me see. I had some notes here because there's so much, but let me see. Yeah, I think, one important trend is the green, and also sustainable food. Well, green might be, for example, go more to vegetarian or even vegan food. You skip your meat, for example, or you just have meat once per week, and then you take like plant-based proteins instead, which is quite good to take. You always look for substitutions. If you take something away, you always look that you get the nutritions, that you don't skip everything, and then you don't have enough energy or enough vitamins. So, yeah, the green trend, and then the personalized nutrition. So we are everybody is like unique, and we have different bodies, different metabolism, different kinds, and of course sometimes disease, or so everyone needs to see what he needs. We have to find out, and for this there's not one perfect diet for everyone, and the personalized nutrition is a big trend, I think, and it's good we went there. Of course, the gut health and the gut-brain axis, and your microbiome, and that's a very big theme nowadays, or many years it started, and I think that's very interesting and very good to remember that we are not alone. We have our bacteria, and the gut is so big, and then they found out the big relation between the gut and the brain, and that's I think it's.
Can I ask you a bit more about that personalization? Because I think many listeners might be thinking about, oh, that sounds cool, but how do I go about understanding what is the best nutrition plan for me personally? How can they do that?
Okay. Yeah, of course, if you do it alone, maybe you can write, you have your diet, and maybe if you have problems, for example, you feel like, oh, I'm getting too much weight, or oh, I feel bloated, or I don't feel good, I feel tired all the time, then you might, for example, take down what you eat, make like a food diary for at least 3 days, and see what you eat. You can make photos as well, and then look at it, and then also write down when you feel, for example, when is the bloating, or when it is worst, or is it always the tiredness after eating? And then you find out, maybe there's something I could change. And then, of course, it's good if you have someone who can tell you and help you with that, to find out what's better for you. And of course, if you have disease, if you have gut problems or stomach problems or digestive, it's always good to also go to a doctor or take tests. There are a lot of blood or stool tests, whatever you can take, and see what's the problem. Yeah, but I think it's good to look what you eat, and write down and have a look at it, and And then you can make the small changes.
Yeah. No, I thought it was amazing. I remember going to one exhibition once where they put like on the kitchen table the sort of what the whole family had eaten during 1 week. And it was, on average, it was an amazing amount of food and different unhealthy processed foods. So maybe that's a good idea to take these pictures and maybe create your own collage of what your weekly food looked like. And
yeah, I think so, because it helps, and also it makes it visible. You see, and you get conscious of it, because sometimes it's just we eat and we use food and we don't think about it that much. So
yeah, especially in busy lives, we're running from one place to the next, pick up the kids, do the work, do this, do that, do this, and maybe we don't think enough about what we're putting in our bodies.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yes.
Excellent, excellent. And you mentioned in that the issue of weight, and prior to us talking today, I looked up some of the statistics by the CDC, which state that more than 4 in 10 of American adults are classified as obese, so heavily overweight, which is up from 3 in 10 in the year 2000. So the statistician in me calculated that's a massive 37% increase in just 20 years. In the history of humanity, that's huge. That's such a huge increase. And then when you look at kids, additionally to that, 1 in 5 children in America are classified as obese. So what do you think is behind, in particular, the change in the last 20 years, in the last 2 decades? What's caused that increase in being overweight?
Yeah, so I think, well, there, of course, it's always many things. It's a combination, but of course, the lifestyle nowadays, and with the industrialization it came, but nowadays it's more and more, it's like the stressy life, the work, we don't have time, we don't have time for our kids. It's a big thing, but I think I would start even, it's the food and beverage industry, which is, they offer us what we can buy at the grocery or at the supermarket. And if we are not aware of it, and of course, there's also the advertisements and a lot of influencers. So many people, they don't know. They just buy the things that maybe there's a cereal and it's like, healthy looking, or it's like healthy looking. And then it's not, because it's artificial or a lot of sugar or fats. But I think it's the food and beverage industry. They sell us the food, and if we are not aware of it, that's And I think and also with the children and with the teenagers, they got a lot of influence from the advertisements, from everywhere, from the social media. And then they have their Coke, and then they have the Zero Coke, and then a lot. Then I have it every day, and I think that's the problem. Maybe it's these.
Yeah, and I think that's very interesting, right? To make sure people, I think, look at the content labels, not just the marketing on the front page of the package, but they actually flip it over and see what's in it, and learn some understanding of what the ingredients mean. Because sometimes you read it and it's half in Latin or half in whatever, really hard numbers or something, and it's hard for maybe normal people to understand what they actually mean.
That's true. Yeah. And I think it's maybe it's meant to be, because maybe it's better than it. Sometimes they use some expressions or another type of saying, and then it sounds good, or it sounds, okay. Yeah. I don't know, but it's a little bit of work then. Have a look again and maybe search for the ingredients, have a look, what is it? And I think, yes, but it would be helpful. Yeah.
I think it's not always easy. I think, I've spent a lot of time traveling around America, and in many parts of the country, it's actually quite hard to find reasonably priced, healthy food. I think there's also, especially now with the cost of living crisis, unfortunately, people are looking at the cost of fresh food and thinking, wow, that's really expensive.
It is true. That's another big topic, or yeah, it's true. It shouldn't be like that. When we think about it, well, but that's just idealistic. But why do we pay? Why do we get the processed food? And there's so many of them, different types. And why is the natural and organic food so hard to find? Or then it's very expensive. And it's not very, I don't understand it, why, but well, it's the business, of course. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about weight loss. I know it's an issue that many people struggle with, and they sort of try diets when they come up. You have this diet, which is popular in the media for a while, and that goes away, and some famous celebrity tries another diet, and all of a sudden that's the new trend. So what are your thoughts on all these sort of diet programs? Do any of them work?
Yeah. So I think I also already mentioned it, that everyone is different. And if there is, like, for example, low carb diet or these weight loss diets, I just think it's not, it can't be good for our body. Well, if you take, for example, you restrict, there's an energy and restriction, and then there's, like, you take away everything and you don't eat much, and then maybe for some time, and afterwards you go back again to your diet, what you had maybe the same before, or well, it's not good for your body neither, that you get these imbalances then, even if you might lose some weight with the weight loss diet, afterwards it's very hard, and you can't really eat or be like on a weight loss diet all the time or your whole life, because usually they skip a lot, and it's not very healthy. And then the thing is, because we are individuals, it's not every diet for everyone. And for example, if you can't, it's not very good to have a low carb diet for a person who has, like, thyroid problems, for example, or high blood pressure, maybe medicine. Then you can't do it. But then often people don't know it. But in my personal opinion, like a weight loss diet, like we know these common Mayo diet, or I don't now recall the names, but I don't think that they're very, I wouldn't recommend them. It's better to find your own diet, and then with the help maybe of a nutritionist, find your own healthy diet and go with that, and step by step, and then go with that all your life then. And then it's good, you get the energy and the nutrition you need. Yeah. And then also you will lose weight, because then your metabolism will adapt and will get it's like that. It's working.
Yeah. No, I think it's interesting. I think it's something people could think about, whether it's worth investing that little bit of money in a consultation with a nutritionist to try and find their personalized diet, what works best for their body type, taking into account, as you say, the medical conditions that people might have, and to make sure they don't make the wrong choices.
Of course, that's one important thing. Thank you for speaking about it. Yes.
No worries. So, okay, so people could still say, well, I still want to lose some weight. And if we're saying, well, maybe not going on one of these, intense weight loss diets is the way to go, what can they do? What could they do to help them just lose a few pounds?
Yeah. So the first thing was look and get conscious about how you're eating, about your diet, take the photos, write down, make the food diary. And then you get aware of the problem, or maybe you find something, what's wrong. And then I just have a look because there's so many things. So I think, then if you get conscious of what could be like the problem, for example, you see, I'm eating like 4 times per week red meat, and you see, I'm not drinking. I don't have the hydration. That's one important thing. Be hydrated. And important would be also if you have the fresh water, for example, for drinking, or herbal teas, or of course something. Your cup of coffee you can have as well, but the hydration is coming more from the water. You can put some lemon or some herbs in it, because that's for the better. It's not flushing you out. It's getting into the cells, and you get your hydration everywhere. Then one good thing would be look at your plate as well. Take your plate, and when you have your meal, take care of it that it should be more than a half with the greens and vegetables and salads, and then like a quarter should be the good protein, which is like the fish and white meat or legume, beans, chickpeas, and then 1/3 might be, well, some the fats also, of course. Well, you get the fat also from the fish, but well, it should be, the most important is the more than the half, it's the vegetables. And then also another thing with the plate, if you have, you can choose a smaller plate at home or in a restaurant, and that's like a psychological trick, but you will see that you eat less, and that's also one thing. Sometimes we eat too much, or if you have bread with your lunch, then have just 1 slice of bread and not 2. For example, you eat a little bit less, and that's the thing, you get used to it. And that's also, if we don't intake too much energy, then we lose weight when we use a little bit less. And it's
right. No, I love that. That's one of my favorite tips, I think, to sort of, even if you're just reducing like by 5% for a while, the sort of the amount on the plate, and then after a couple of months you go a little bit more, and over time you realize that, oh wow, I've cut 20% of my intake, which is huge, but you don't notice it so much, especially so if you go out and buy some slightly smaller plates. That's a good.
I think we tried it, and it's a good, especially if you have your dessert, you have the sweet things, then it's good to have the small plate.
That is an excellent tip, Nina. And then we talked a lot about weight loss, but obviously balanced nutrition is a lot more than just weight loss. We talked about gut, we talked about these other things. So what other tips are your favorite tips when related to nutrition, but not specifically to weight loss?
Yes, so let me see. So I think the first thing is always the motivation also. For example, okay, I would like to lose weight, or I would like to eat healthier. But sometimes it's hard to start. And then it's good for looking for motivation. And that's also thinking about what type I am. So, for example, if I'm a planner and goal-orientated planner, then maybe I need these food diaries especially, and I need to calculate my calorie intake and these things, but that's then your motivation, that's your kind of. Or if you're like more a green person, maybe you think about, I would like to eat less meat and eat less animal proteins, then I can take this like, okay, I'm going to do something good for myself and for the environment, for the animals. And so find your motivation. Then make small changes, start with the small steps, and don't take like too huge things at the time, because that's, that might lower your motivation if you take too much. So small steps, and start with one thing. Maybe you start, I will eat the half of the plate, or will half of the amount. Then one very nice, it's the eat your rainbow colors. So we need the colors also in foods. At the next time you go to the groceries, look and try to find at least like 5-6 different colors of vegetables and fruit, because we get so many antioxidants and vitamins from different colors. So it's very nice also. You get like variation, not always just the same, And of course, seasonal also. And you might also find some new interesting points in nutrition or interesting fields or topics. For example, you might just, if you haven't read about Ayurveda, the Indian medicine, the ancient, you might look about Ayurveda, what it is. And it's very holistic, and it's very useful, and it's like going with the body types and with the seasons, and I recommend it. And for example, one tip from Ayurveda, they say that we need like 6 tastes. There's like 6 Ayurvedic tastes, which is the sweet, the sour, the salty, pungent, bitter, and astringent. And we need all, and our body craves these. And if we don't get them, then we get these special cravements of something sweet or something salty. And it would be good, like in the meals, to put a lot of herbs and different kinds, that you get these tastes. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's an amazing range of tips, and I'm sure we'll include in the show notes some links to resources where people can maybe go and start building their knowledge base. And I thought that was fascinating to think about these different types of flavors, because I know myself, if I go shopping and I haven't had sweet for a while, then I end up buying these things in the shopping cart that maybe I shouldn't buy because I've had that craving. And so understanding where this comes from, but I think is important. So thank you, Nina, for sharing all these tips. One last question before I let you go, and we ask all our guests this, is what brings you joy?
Oh, nice question. So I think that we can find joy in so many, or maybe in almost everything. But at the moment, my greatest joy is just be grateful every day. And I find a lot of joy through my new yoga teaching or yoga experience, and that's a lot of joy, because it's you think a little bit more every day about the joyful things. But of course, it's nature, and it's family, it's friends, it's love. But you can find the joy within yourself also. So.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that, Nina. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being such a wonderful guest on the show today. It's been such a pleasure talking to you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
And I hope you, our listeners, enjoyed this podcast episode as much as I did. And I hope you feel inspired by Nina to look into your nutrition choices and to make changes as appropriate. And I said we'll include some good links in the show notes. If you're not already a member of the Year of Joy community, please visit our website, theartandscienceofjoy.com, to find out more and join. It's a free resource for everyone. Thanks once again for listening, and I hope you tune in for the next episode of the Art and Science of Joy podcast. Until then, stay well, stay joyful, and stay healthy.